a minute.
We were like, oh.
We're a little out of practice.
Yeah, because we were off last week.
Right,
And
Mardi
then
Gras.
we were here the week before, though.
Right.
Yes. So happy late Mardi Gras, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the weather's warming up.
Oh my God. And I am seriously struggling with spring fever.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I am too. It's been so beautiful.
it's been so nice. All I've wanted to do is not be at work. In
Not
all honesty.
inside at any rate.
At least, yeah. Too bad librarians can't, like,
There's not much
go
outside work
outside
for us. Yeah.
I know. Like a little rolling laptop tray. Okay, cool. So, yeah, we're back.
Right. This is actually our 20th episode, so you have stuck with us for.
I feel like that's a big anniversary.
It is.
Like a milestone.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Stephanie. You've made it. We've made it 20 episodes. That's a lot.
It is.
I'm surprised we're still talking about interesting things. I mean,
our audience might beg to differ.
Well, at least we think interesting.
Right.
I mean, whatever. I told the kids, like I taught class earlier, and I was like, I know library research isn't like thrilling to everybody, but it can be kind of cool. I mean, I'm kind of cool. And they're like,
they're not,
not
buying
really.
it.
We're not buying it from you, librarian lady. So today,
Should we introduce ourselves?
oh yeah, as opposed to the nerdy librarian lady. Okay,
You can call us
call me that. I'll answer that. I am Beth Shepherd, and I am the Arts and Humanities librarian here at the Marx Library at the University of South Alabama.
And I'm Stephanie Ebersard, and I am the social sciences librarian.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Today we are beginning a 3-part series called The Lesser Known.
Yeah, I'm really stoked about this.
Yeah, I'm too.
Mainly because I've forced myself to learn a few things in preparation.
Yeah.
About some of the some weird things about the lesser knowns. And so today's lesser known is ebooks, right?
Right.
So we're gonna talk about that. But we should probably, before we start, we should remind people that we're sponsored by.
Sponsored by.
We're sponsored by Starbucks today. Ta-da! Oh wait,
Very
I should
nice.
probably hold it up a little bit more.
There we go.
Yeah,
they
just
can
cover
see
my
it
face.
now.
There you go. So Stephanie, what's in this thing?
We have 2 mugs, some chocolates, and some Cafe Verona.
A whole bag. A whole bag of coffee. And so
That gets you through a week or 2, right?
a minute and a half for me. What do people have to do to win this thing? We're giving it away today.
That's right. So here's your chance to win an awesome prize. You have to ask a question during today's live broadcast. So you can't ask it after the fact. You got to ask it live.
You got to tune in.
And from anyone who asks the question, the question.
We're gonna have so many questions.
So many questions.
Yeah.
Anyone who asks a question, we're going to randomly select the winner.
Yeah, like randomly. Like we'll put them in like a
Randomizer?
number. That's made up. There's not a randomizer. That sounds like something on like Star Trek.
I think there is a website called Randomizer.
Oh my god, is there really?
Yeah, Randomizer.
We'll put it in the comments. If there is one.
If there is one.
There is one. All right. So
You don't keep a randomizer in your office for kids.
next to my hoverboard.
That's right.
Right. Okay. So ebooks.
All right, so we're gonna tell you what an ebook is, why we even do ebooks.
Yeah, that's a good point though. I think that's crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
how you can find them, how you can use them.
Yeah, how you can find them, how you can use them, and then maybe a little bit about like how they're a little bit different. I think from like the ebook
that you might be used to, like on
like a Kindle,
right?
Like the Amazon kind of ebooky thing, and how they're a little bit different.
Yeah,
a lot of it,
a lot different.
A lot of it different. So first off, we should probably talk about the fact that we have them.
Yes,
we have a lot of them.
We have quite a few ebooks. Yeah,
quite a few, and we're getting more and more. And kind of the reason behind that is twofold. One, we're getting more and more completely online programs, and so it makes less and less sense to buy their materials in like a print form when you aren't even on campus.
Right, you can't come into the library and get it.
Right. So that's one reason, and then 2 is like just kind of some disciplines, really, that's kind of the main method of printing now, right? I mean, definitely not mine, so I can't speak to that, but I think some of the sciences, like the information's changing so rapidly that it's easiest just to print it as an ebook, right?
Right, they can update it more quickly.
47 editions of, I don't know, a book about fracking.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah, okay. I just taught a class with kids talking about fracking, so I was like, whatever, fracking, I don't know. So yeah, so we have them.
Why do we have them?
space, use, and some things aren't printed in print anymore.
Some things you actually cannot get a print copy.
Yeah. And sometimes we have requests for digital copies. So, for example, I'm going to steal one from our natural sciences librarian who was talking about it in her last liaison meeting. So, Ellen, if you're like tuning in, hope I get this right. But she was talking to her meteorology faculty about a book that sort of, it's not a textbook, but it's considered kind of like the standard book in the field. And they were asking multiple students to consult it at several points throughout their kind of curriculum. And the problem was we had like one copy of it on the shelf.
Right.
And it made a whole lot more sense for us to buy an ebook of that so that multiple students could access it all the time, right? Other than one person having it off the shelf. So that's kind of a plus for ebooks opposed to a print copy. We have to have 5 print copies when we only need 1 ebook. So that's, I guess that's the reason why we have them.
Yeah.
Yes. So how they're a little bit different from like the ebooks that we're kind of used to when we talk about like Kindle ebooks.
Right. Most of the time when students think about ebooks, they're thinking about the kinds of things you get on your Kindle or your Nook.
And you like download them and you read them in their entirety and like...
And they tend to be kind of fun reading.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this earlier and I was like, nobody actually thinks ebooks are like meant for reading. And you were like, people read them, Beth. It's just like, and I meant like, oh, in its entirety. Like nobody's gonna sit down.
Right, you're not gonna sit down and read the whole thing like you might, some romance or something you get off a Kindle.
Right. So I was like, nobody reads, and you're like, yeah, they're actually meant for reading. Like, how else are you going to consume the information?
They are words that you can read.
Right. They're just not meant for like, sit down, enjoy, take to the beach on a plane.
The ones the ebooks that we have, yeah.
Yes.
Because some public libraries do have rather extensive collections of ebooks.
Yeah, like I think Overdrive is what they call
yeah.
it. We don't. So most of our, like the majority of our collection, it's intended for research.
It's academic stuff.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of moves into, we have several collections of ebooks. And this is where things get weird.
So unlike our print collection, which is pretty easy to find through South Cat,
or find
like actually walk out and find it,
stumble onto it.
Our ebooks can be a little bit more difficult to discover.
Yeah, I think that's frustrating. I mean, it's frustrating for librarians, so I know it's frustrating for users too, right? I mean, we're users, but I mean like other end users. And a lot of these kind of weird, I guess, location issues or locating these kind of things are things that we really can't work around. They have to do with how the books come to us. So there's kind of 2 models for ebook purchase, and we're trying not to bore you guys to tears with this, but hang in there with me.
We'll get to the good stuff about how to find them in just a minute.
Yeah. So there's a purchase, and then there's a subscription. So kind of think about it like
buying a DVD versus having a Netflix account, maybe.
I was going to say rent the runway. Like you buy a shirt versus rent the shirt and then return the shirt. But yeah, it totally works that way. I just don't think, do people even buy like rent DVDs anymore?
No, they don't. So maybe it would be more like buying something from Amazon Prime and having the digital copy forever.
Or renting it.
Or renting it from Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Or like, okay. Or rent the runway. So yes. So the idea is, so buying means that we bought it, it's ours, we keep it forever until we want to get rid of it, right? We own it. Subscription is just like you rent it. It's renting a car or leasing a car, maybe is a good example.
There we go.
Okay, so we don't actually own the car. We're paying a monthly or yearly fee for the car. And then when we no longer want the car or can't afford the car anymore, we can send the car back, right? We don't have to pay for it anymore. And so that matters because we don't put things that we don't own in our catalog.
Right.
Because they could potentially
go away. So if they're cataloged and people find them and then they go away, people will be very frustrated or disappointed. And it's also a lot of work to keep up with
for our catalogers that we keep downstairs. Right. So that has an impact, like Stephanie was saying, on how you locate the stuff, right? So unlike searching for a book where you just like, okay, every book is going to be in the catalog and I can go to the catalog and I can look, not every ebook is cataloged in the catalog.
Right. So how do they find them?
That's a good question.
Well, maybe we should talk that first. Many of them are going to show up in the catalog.
Yes, because those are the ones we own. Like,
right.
We own them. They're ours. And so if you look at a catalog and you see like electronic book and the holdings for it or whatever, we own that. That's ours. It's super easy to access. You just click on it. Easy peasy.
And you can search for those just like you'd search for any other book.
Yeah.
And you can even limit to just the electronic resources if you maybe you're off campus and you don't want to even bother finding print materials.
Yeah, I was in a weird space. Okay.
And sometimes they say different things, right? Sometimes they say ebook, sometimes they say electronic resource, in my experience.
Yeah, and I don't really know. I mean, this is where I'm not a cataloger, and that probably shows. If a cataloger want to watch, weigh in. But yeah, I don't know the difference.
I don't either. But the whole point is, if it says it's an electronic resource or an ebook, there'll be a link that you can follow.
As opposed to a call number.
Right. So if there's no call number but a link, then you can follow the link, and then usually you can read the entire book that way.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that in a second, I think. Maybe we'll talk about that in like the different platforms, how they all look a little bit different. So get excited. You can learn 47 different things. But so if all things are not in the catalog, what do we do?
Give up and start crying.
Yeah, just run away.
Yeah. No, of course not.
Of course not. One search is good because it has a lot of stuff in it. But again, that's primarily just the catalog stuff, I think. Yeah.
That's mostly what it's pulling.
Yeah.
In my experience.
So.
But students might like to use it because they are familiar with the interface.
Yes. So you can use OneSearch and find ebooks.
And there is an option to limit to ebooks.
Yes, it's a good limit. Yes, it's a
because
nice
when you
limiter.
use OneSearch, you're going to get a lot of stuff. So if you're just looking for ebooks, make sure to tick that box.
Yeah. There's also
we have a list of all of our ebooks collections. Well, we actually have a list of our ebooks
and
a separate list of our collections. Yeah. So it's like two different things happening.
Yeah. So the list of our ebook collections is on the homepage under
It's in one of the little gray boxes, one of the little quick links.
I think it's under the quick links. Yeah.
Yeah.
It says like ebook collections.
Yes.
It's going to list all the different collections because we have like Humanities collection. I think it's the ACLS Humanities collection. There's Springer ebook collection. There's EBSCO.
EBSCO. Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of collections. You can go that way. But I think probably the easier way is through the ebook and journal list.
Yes. So that is called the journal and ebook list.
Oh, I got it backwards.
Yeah. Which actually I think makes sense because I think most people use it to find journal names.
Yes.
Yes. Which is, if you know what journal you're looking for, like citation mining, that's usually where my students.
That's where I take them to. Yeah.
But our ebooks are also listed there, and a really nice thing about that is you can search based on subject.
Yes. So you don't have to know the title, which is super nice. So you can just search like ornithology.
Yeah. Keep picking science stuff.
I know.
But if you're really interested in birds and you want to find an ebook about birds, you can search ornithology.
Yeah.
And it'll pull up the ebooks.
Yeah, so all the ebooks that are with that title. And so,
But again, you want to limit because that's also going to pull up journal titles. So you want to limit to ebooks.
And that's limits on the left.
It's on the left-hand side.
Left-hand side of the screen. Yes. So those are so there's the catalog, OneSearch, which is essentially kind of the same-ish thing.
The ebooks collection list.
Ebooks collection list if you want to browse by collection.
And the journal and ebooks list if you want to browse by subject or if you know the title.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how you access them.
So if you encounter, like you hit a brick wall in one of these options, try some of the other options.
And call a librarian.
That's right.
Because the next thing we're going to kind of move into is that all these different platforms look different and behave differently, which is super frustrating on the user end, and we understand and we know, but we can't do anything about it.
Right.
It's all publisher. Like different publishers handle ebooks differently.
So they're all going to look a little bit differently, and the links that you click to access them are going to look different. The kinds of things you can do with
I was
the
gonna say like what you can do with them, whether you have to rent the book to read the full book, whether you have to rent the book to download the book, whether you can download the full book, whether you can download a chapter, whether you can print it, whether you can.
Let's be careful with the word rent though, because the students won't have to pay for anything.
No, right.
Yeah.
But I think it actually says borrow.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of weird and confusing. I was like, what? Okay. But
you don't have to pay for it. We've already done that.
We've already done that.
Yeah.
A lot. So some different platforms have like different use restrictions. So like, for example, Springer, one of our favorite ebook providers, so Springer, we love you. They're super like awesome and generous with all of their, I mean, we pay for it, trust me, but they don't have user restrictions, and they don't have any restrictions on what you can do with the ebook when you get it. So you can download the entire text of the book
all at once,
all at one time, no problem. You can print
you
the whole thing.
You can print it, yeah.
You can do, if you want to make your own little bound copy of that book, you totally can. It's up to you.
That's not the case with
not the case with all of them. So some of them you have to download individual chapters.
Yes. So you'll see like preface, or rather you see front matter,
introduction,
table of contents, preface, introduction. So with those, because like we said earlier, you're probably not going to sit and read the whole thing anyway, it's a good idea maybe to pick and choose what you think is going to be most useful to you.
Control find or Apple find throughout the text, and then see kind of like as an index on steroids, and then you can just pick and choose what's interesting to you, right? Some platforms will only allow you to print or download page numbers, so sets of page numbers, so only pages 1 through 60 at a time, right? And there are ways to get around that, but so you just need to know, like, okay, I can only do 1 through 60, right? So it can be frustrating. Sometimes you have to like download. I mean, whatever. They're all different and they're all weird, and they're promised there's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
It's the publisher's
issues. It has to do with
copyright
and usage and all kinds of stuff
that
you really need a lawyer to talk you through.
Yeah. It's kind of frustrating, and we know it. But if you ever have any questions about like what is going on with one of these ebooks, how do you use it, then just shoot your librarian a question, like an email.
We'll be happy to help you figure it out.
Yeah. Because not only are the platforms different, but sometimes they'll have user restrictions on the number of students that can use a book at a time.
Yes, we try really hard to make sure that any ebook that we get, many students can use at once.
Yeah, so our goal as librarians in our collection development decisions that we make when we buy stuff for the collection is to, especially when ebooks, is to, as a rule, try to get unlimited use.
Right.
So that 47 students can use the book at the same time.
Right. And that's ideal.
That's the goal.
Sometimes, however, it's impossible to get an ebook like that. And so sometimes it will be limited to one student at a time. I think we also have three, right? Three user, one user. So you might try to access a book, and what message do they receive? A message, or
I think it just says like it's checked out, which is again frustrating.
Right.
Like, well, it's not.
It's an ebook. How can it be checked out, right?
Yeah. So you'll get a message that says like unavailable, checked out, or something like that. And I think I think all the messages are different by the platform, right?
So if that happens, come back and try later.
Yeah, or shoot your librarian an email and go like, what's up with this?
Right.
I don't really understand. And then we'll be like, oh, here's the issue. But again, those are getting fewer and fewer because that's kind of a collection development decision that we make. And a lot of libraries are pushing back against the idea of like single-use ebooks because it kind of
defeats the
purpose of an ebook, right? Kind of like what we were talking about a second ago. Like that's the whole. Otherwise, we would just purchase the print book.
Right.
Silliness. Okay, so what else do we want to say about lesser known series? We have some notes.
Yeah, we have some notes, of course. We've actually done a really good job.
Have we done a good job?
Oh, look, we're at 22.
Oh, so. Look at us. And we don't have any questions, though.
Oh, nobody wants to win the prize.
No one wants to win the prize.
I would like to backtrack when you're talking about using Control Find. One really nice thing about ebooks, not just with the index, but in general, is they're almost always searchable.
Yes.
Which is something that a print book is not. Yeah, so you can Control Find and look for a name or a particular term to try to get to that information really fast. So that's really cool.
Yeah, so sort of my disciplines don't use ebooks as much, but that is one thing that I encourage people to do when we run across an ebook, because I'm like, this is actually, don't shy away from it, because it actually can be really convenient, right? Because you're just usually gutting the book, like you're trying to get to the relevant information as quickly as you possibly can. So
big time saver.
Index on steroids.
Yeah.
So use Control Find or Apple Find or however you find to do that. Anything else you want to say about ebooks?
So no questions at all?
I feel like ebooks are one of those things that like lots of people are confused about.
Yeah.
I mean, even me.
I think it's worth noting that an ebook version of a print book is the exact same thing.
Oh my God.
Because I think that there are students and faculty who
if you're listening, this is for you.
So if you find an ebook, it's like equivalent in terms of quality and content.
It's the exact same book.
Yeah, it's actually the exact same book.
It's like if you took a picture of a book, it would be the same. I mean, like it's the same thing.
And even if a print version does not exist, it's still a book. Like, it's not an article. It's not a website.
Not a website, right? So if we don't own the print version, we just own the electronic version. That doesn't mean it's not a book,
Right?
Right? And then it doesn't exist in print. It was born print.
Have you encountered students who are confused about that? Because
all the time.
Yeah, they'll say, "I can't use a web source." Well, it's not a web source.
Because I feel like the students think that the faculty give them restrictions about like web source use, or it has to be a book, right? It has to you have to have so many books and so many articles or whatever. And technically, that meets the book requirement.
Yes,
it's a book.
It is a book.
It's a whole book. It's
a real book
in the ether, as opposed to
on paper,
codex on paper. I don't know. So yes, they're real books.
They're real.
They're real books. They're not things on the interwebs.
I think like every other week, there's someone who is insisting they can't use an ebook.
Yeah, well, and I mean, some faculty insist that students can't use an ebook.
Yeah.
But I think if you just have this kind of random book restriction, then an ebook meets that restriction.
Right.
For that.
And a real advantage of ebooks is that issue of being updated, like we talked about earlier. So with really current topics, you're maybe more likely to find an ebook than you are an actual print book.
Well, and I'll say too, I was looking, I can't remember what topic it was recently, but I was helping a student with research, and the only things we were finding were ebooks because it was a really kind of current topic. And it made sense because I was like, we're probably not purchasing print books on this topic anymore because it is such a rapidly changing topic. So it's kind of a decision that we make too. Like, do we want to continue to buy new books about gun control when gun control legislation and conversation is changing so rapidly? It really makes sense to just buy ebooks.
Because we can update those or get rid of them much more easily than we can our print collection.
So those of you, if anybody out there is like a computing student, the majority of your books now are all ebooks.
Oh, yes. Yeah. There's no sense in keeping something like that print when it's going to change in 6 months.
And we have to weed it from the shelf in a year.
Right. It's a waste of money.
It's a waste of time and money.
It's a waste of space.
And we don't, so medicine's the same way. Right. So we don't want you to get outdated nursing information. So we don't keep old stuff on the shelf. So
I think the biomedical library has very few actual print books now. Almost all of their materials are online.
Yeah, and that's why. Because they don't want
old stuff
floating out there.
Yeah.
EBOOKS. There's reasons. I think there should be like the tagline for ebooks.
There's
reasons.
Well, they're cool too because you can access them anywhere. I mean, you could be like doing research at 2 a.m. and you can read the whole book right then and there and get the information you need.
Yeah. Sure. Ebooks are cool.
You don't sound convinced.
I don't use them very much for my people, but like
we do.
Y'all, social scientists use them all the time. I've heard. Yeah. I mean, especially if you just want like to go to that chart, you just go to that chart.
Right.
Yeah.
Control F, man.
Love it. All right, guys. So we don't have any questions. So I guess that means we get to split it.
That sounds good to me.
Okay. All right.
I could do with half a bag of Cafe Verona
and some chocolate and a cute little mug. We'll have matching mugs next week.
No, we're joking. We'll hold on to it.
We'll just buy our own matching mugs.
We should get Marx Library Live mugs. We totally should do it.
Oh my god, like Cup of Joe. The
worst.
But CNN, if you're watching, it's the worst news show ever. It's not really a news show.
You're not going to sponsor our mugs if you say that.
Sorry, but it's true. It's the worst. All right, so next week
we're going to continue our lesser known
into series. My jam.
We're
going to talk about microfilm and microfiche. I'm super stoked.
So we gave you like a super brief introduction way back.
We did.
We were talking about the whole collection.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, way back, like 1,000 years ago.
Like episode 3
when we were young.
Young and spry.
But now
that we're wizened librarians.
I mean, you really need to be wizened to talk about this.
It's probably right. I mean, the old soul in me loves some microfilm microfiche use. So we're gonna get all up in that polyester film next week.
We need to take them over there. We should field trip it.
We should. Or maybe, what we'll do, I think might be fun, would be like a filmed video intro.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe like a day before.
That's a good idea.
All right, so be looking for that. We'll do that. We'll do like a short walk over to the microfilm microfiche with us next week. We'll put it up on Monday. How's that?
Our video field trip.
Ooh, I love it. Getting out of the office. Just right across the hall.
So. Every now and then we are allowed to leave, so
they let us leave. Yeah, we go AWOL. All right, so next week will be microfilm, microfiche, and then after that is our third and final of the lesser knowns, which is
government documents.
Oh, right. Okay, so yeah, that's way lesser known. Okay, So I guess we should do the things that we normally do at the end.
All right. So if you are not following us on I did so well today.
I know, and I was doing
so well.
Okay, yeah, I had, yeah, okay.
And then I lost it right there at the end.
Shake it off. Okay.
Okay, if you're not following us on social media, like us on Facebook. You're here already. Just click the little thumbs up. You know how to do this.
This is nothing new to you.
Or you can find, sorry, not or, and you can find us. There's
you guys are bullying operators. Okay. Nerd joke. Okay.
Well, maybe I want to expand our viewers.
Oh my God,
right?
librarian nerd joke. Okay, so sad.
Also, you can find us. Also, is maybe good. It's not a bullying operator. You can find us on Twitter as USA_library. We're on Instagram as Marx.library.
Which is blowing up.
Yeah, yeah.
He's killing it on the Instagram feed.
Thank you. We love your feedback, by the way.
Yes.
And I don't know if you'll notice, but you got yourself some whiteboards.
Yeah, so whoever out there was your whiteboard guy, give yourself a little, brush those shoulders off, because you're welcome. Yeah.
And all of our videos are also on YouTube. I can't remember the name of that place where we put videos.
The Tube of Views. Yeah.
Yeah, the Tube of Views as Marx Library Live. So if you want to go back, and I know you do.
And watch all 19 up to this point, you can see how our hair's changed.
Oh, yeah.
And our setup. New, yeah. So
anyone want to do a time lapse, That'd be cool.
I think we should do like a greatest hits.
Greatest
hits.
Hits.
Compilation.
That would be
Wouldn't
awesome.
that be so fun?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll think about that for
You think we
semester.
think we're way cooler than they think we are?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're wrong. Okay.
All right, on that note,
we will see you next week with our second episode of The Lesser Known.
Yeah, all right, cool, guys. See y'all then.
Bye.
Bye.